When you make money in the market, something shifts deep in your brain that almost nobody mentions, and it's not the kind of change that makes you smarter. Your ability to judge risk goes down, not up. The better your trades have been going lately, the worse your brain gets at seeing the train wreck that might be coming next. It's a trap. The part that really hurts is that it doesn't feel like you're losing your edge, because to you, it feels like clarity. You think you finally cracked the code, but you're actually just becoming a danger to your own bank account. We're going to break down exactly why winning makes your judgment worse, and we'll give you 3 ways to catch it before your best streak becomes your biggest mistake. This is overconfidence bias. By the time you feel it, it's already running the show.
I've been right 3 times in a row now, and at some point you have to admit that's pattern recognition, not luck.
3 data points is a coincidence with a massive ego attached to it, Sam.
Tell that to my portfolio.
Your portfolio doesn't know why it went up, and honestly, neither do you.
Fine. So if I'm so wrong, walk me through it. I made a decision, the market moved my way, and I got paid. So what exactly did I miss?
The whole problem is that you didn't miss anything. You made a move, it worked out, and nothing went wrong. But it's what happened in your head afterward that matters. Your brain took that outcome and stamped it as proof of your talent, rather than proof that you got lucky or happened to be standing in the right place while the whole market was rising.
What's the difference? I still have the money. And I didn't just get lucky. I sat down and did the research, read every fundamental, compared the valuations, and built a thesis that made sense.
Every investor who's ever blown up their account had a thesis. Every single one of them. They all did the work. The thesis wasn't what broke them, but the belief that having a thesis made them immune to being wrong definitely did.
So you're saying research just doesn't matter?
Research is non-negotiable, but the moment you start believing your research guarantees an outcome, you're in trouble. Markets don't reward being right, they reward being right for the right reason, and after a win, you can't tell those 2 things apart.
I still don't see the difference.
Think about poker. A beginner sits down and gets dealt a mediocre hand, but they stay in because they don't know enough to be scared. They get lucky on the last card and rake in the pot. Objectively, they played that hand terribly, but their brain records a win and tells them their gut was right. So they stay in with the next bad hand, and the one after that, until the luck runs out and they've lost everything playing the exact same way that worked the first time.
Okay, but I'm not a beginner at a poker table. I have a system.
Systems can produce good results for bad reasons. A system that works in a bull market where everything is rising isn't the same as one that works when things get ugly. But that distinction doesn't register with you. Your brain just sees a decision and a reward, then builds this clean, simple, and completely misleading story. I was right.
Look at any bubble from the last 30 years, whether it was .com, housing, or crypto in 2021. The investors who lost the most weren't just reckless, they were the ones who had been right for months leading up to the peak. Their research felt solid, and their returns were real, and their confidence made total sense right up until the moment it didn't. By that point, their positions were 3 or 4 times bigger than they should have been, because each win gave them more conviction, and more conviction meant bigger bets. The money is real, but that confidence that tags along afterward is just ancient software, running a program it was never built for.
Those were bubbles, and I'm not in a bubble.
Every single investor inside a bubble says that exact sentence, word for word, like it's a script.
You're making it sound like every win is meaningless.
I'm saying every win needs context. A win during a broad market rally means something totally different than a win that actually beats the market.
But isn't that just how learning works? Where you try something, it works, and you do more of it? That sounds like experience to me.
It would be experience if the feedback was clean. If you touch a hot stove and get burned, you learn fast because that's clean feedback. But markets give you dirty feedback. You can do the right thing and lose, or you can do the wrong thing and win. The outcome doesn't reliably tell you whether your process was good, but your brain treats it like it does. Every win gets filed as, I did this and it worked, so my process is good. That shortcut is where overconfidence takes root.
I'm not going to suddenly start taking reckless risks. I know what I'm doing now.
That sentence, I know what I'm doing now, is the most dangerous thing an investor can say. Knowing things is fine, but the certainty attached to it is manufactured. It's being produced on an assembly line that has zero connection to your actual skill level.
Why? Because I'm supposed to stay uncertain forever?
Because certainty is a feeling, not a fact. Right now, your brain is manufacturing it using a handful of wins and a reward system that can't tell the difference between 3 lucky trades and 300 proven ones.
It doesn't feel manufactured, though. It feels earned.
And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Fear feels uncomfortable. There's a rushing, panicky energy to it. But overconfidence is the opposite. It feels like competence and calm, and you don't question it. You trust it.
So the more confident I feel after a win, the more suspicious I should be of that confidence.
Now you're seeing it.
That's genuinely hard to sit with.
Good, it should be, because your brain is working against you right now, and that's what we need to talk about next.
Real overconfidence is quiet. It shows up as a slight bump in certainty or a small shift in how much risk feels okay. It's a gradual loosening of the rules you set for yourself back when you were thinking clearly. One massive study looked at tens of thousands of brokerage accounts over 6 years, and the results were brutal. The more often investors traded, the worse their returns. The people who felt most confident about their decisions actually did worse than people who were less sure. There's real chemistry behind this, and it goes deeper than a thinking error. When you win, dopamine makes you feel good, and while that's happening, it also dials down your brain's ability to detect risk. Think of it like a smoke detector in your kitchen. Normally it's sensitive, and the faintest hint of smoke sets the alarm off, but after a dopamine reward, it's like someone reached up and turned the sensitivity way down. The detector still works, it is still wired in, but now it needs a much bigger signal before it triggers. A small amount of smoke, and nothing happens. A moderate amount, and still nothing. By the time there's enough smoke to finally set off that dulled detector, the kitchen is already on fire. That's what's happening in your brain after a winning streak. The warning system is still running. It just stopped picking up the signal. And then there's self-attribution bias. After a winning trade, your brain automatically puts all the credit on you. Your analysis, your timing, and your instincts. After a losing trade, the same brain tells a totally different story. The market moved, the timing was off, or some news broke that nobody could have seen coming. Wins go on your resume, but losses get filed under bad luck. Here is a quick way to check whether you do this. Think about your last few financial decisions, specifically the ones that worked out. What do you actually remember? Probably your reasoning and that moment you pulled the trigger and it felt right. Now think about the ones that didn't work. What comes to mind? Probably the market or some external event that wasn't your fault. How you explain your wins sounds completely different from how you explain your losses. And that gap is self-attribution bias running in real time while you sit here thinking about it. This isn't limited to investing either. A job interview goes well, and you nailed it. A job interview goes badly and the interviewer was having an off day. You land the promotion and you earned it. You get passed over and suddenly it was politics. Same brain, running the same pattern every single time. There's one more piece that makes all of this harder to catch on your own. Researchers found that people who are early in learning something tend to massively overestimate how good they are at it. And the reason is straightforward. They haven't been doing it long enough to see how much they don't know. Think about anyone who has taken 3 guitar lessons and decided they were ready to play at a party. Same energy. The less you understand about how complex markets actually are, the more confident you feel after a few early wins. You just don't have enough experience yet to see how much randomness is involved. Meanwhile, the most experienced investors out there tend to be the most uncertain because they have been at it long enough to know what they're up against.
I've been doing this. Exactly this. Every trade that went wrong wasn't my fault, but every trade that worked, I took full credit.
Everyone does. Consider that a diagnosis. The difference is that now you can see it, and what you can see, you can interrupt.
How do I handle this? I feel like I can't trust my own brain.
You don't need to distrust everything your brain tells you. You just need a system that catches the distortion before it turns into a decision. First, journal it. After every decision, write down your reasoning, what actually happened and why it happened. Don't focus on whether you were right, focus on why the outcome occurred. Do it the same day before the memory starts getting edited.
This is called outcome journaling. When you write down your reasoning while it's fresh, there's no going back and quietly revising the story after the fact. After a few weeks, you'll notice a gap between what you thought would happen and the messy reality. That gap is where the bias lives. Say you write down that your reasoning was the stock looked undervalued based on earnings, the outcome was it went up 12%, and the actual reason was the entire sector rallied after a Fed announcement. Everything in that space went up, not just your pick. You were right and you made money. But the journal shows you the outcome had more to do with the Fed than your analysis. Without the journal, that trade gets filed under "I called it." With the journal, the real story stays on the page, and it changes how you think about the next one.
Second, stress test it. Before your next move, write down every reason it could go wrong. The goal is to test your logic against a brain that's actively hiding risk from you.
This is a pre-mortem. Here is what that looks like in practice. You're about to make a trade, and you feel great about it. Before you hit buy, you grab a piece of paper and write this. Assume this failed completely, and 6 months from now, I've lost money on it. So, what went wrong? Then you list the reasons. The sector could cool off. The earnings might have been a one-time event, or the valuation only works if growth continues at this pace for 3 more years. And when you actually write that out, you realize that's a pretty big assumption. You might still make the trade after doing this, but now you're making it with the full picture instead of just the version your dopamine wanted you to see.
Third, name it. This is about catching a feeling, not making a financial plan. When you notice yourself wanting to go bigger after a win, stop. That impulse is the bias. Catching it in the moment is the most direct thing you can do.
Just say it out loud. I want to go bigger because I've been winning. That sentence is the interruption. Once you call it what it is, it loses its grip on your next move. If you've ever felt invincible on a winning streak, you're experiencing the exact same thing that every investor experiences after a streak. Your risk radar got quieter with every win, and your brain handed you the credit while burying the luck. You're not reckless, you're not arrogant, you're wired. That's just how confidence works when nobody teaches you what's behind it. The investors who are still standing after 20 years figured out what confidence does to their judgment and built small habits to check it before it spiraled. The hardest biases to catch are the ones that feel right. Journal it. Stress test it. And when the impulse hits, name it out loud. And the next time you feel like you finally figured it out, that's your cue to slow down, not speed up. Fix the brain, fix the money.
Unga! Fire bad!
Indeed. Let's analyze the risk-reward matrix before proceeding.
Team Sam or Team Luke? Be honest in the comments. Has a winning streak ever made you bolder than you should have been? If this helped you see your patterns differently, hit the like button and subscribe. It really will help the channel grow. In the next episode, we're looking at why your brain punishes patience and why sitting still might be the smartest and hardest move you ever make. Thanks for watching.